question is, how do we change? Or more importantly, how does God change us? In the first part, we said that God doesn't change anything in us without our knowledge. In this part, I want to say that God doesn't change anything in us without our effort. Now, to use that word effort is to maybe cause some of us to stumble a little bit and to think of effort in terms of wanting to earn favor with God, but that's not what I'm talking about. Again, God doesn't change anything in us without our effort. When I prep my sermons, I write them over and over and over again. I don't type them on a keyboard. I write them with a hand, with a pen. Why? Because when I use my hand, when I use a pen and I'm writing it over and over and over again, there's a certain connection that occurs with my brain, right? The thoughts begin to flow easier, and it becomes clearer to me what I need and what I want to say and what I shouldn't be saying. And it also gets deeper into my heart. In the same way, God writes His law or His word or His commands upon our heart. Or another way of putting it is that He writes obedience into our heart. He does it over and over and over again. How does He do that? Well, big picture, it's by Christ living within me. It's by Christ being formed within me, by the indwelling of the Spirit of God. My heart is being changed and conformed into His image. But if we were to zoom in, right, we would begin to see that practically the writing into our heart of God's obedience, that writing that happens over and over again, guess what? It happens in and through our obedience. And anybody who has ever tried to obey knows that it doesn't often come easy, but it takes a lot of hard work. And so our obedience to God is hard work. Just like anything in life, anything that's really valuable to you, anything that you want to get out of life is going to require a lot of effort. If you want to do better at managing your finances, it's going to take a lot of effort. You're going to have to put a lot of time and effort into managing your finances. If you want to become healthier, it means you're going to have to put a lot of time and effort into your health. If you want good relationships, healthy friendships, it means you're going to have to put a lot of time and effort into those things. You get out what you put in. Now, in the same way, we sow to the Spirit and we will reap from the Spirit. If we sow to the flesh, we're going to reap from the flesh. Now, another way practically that this plays out, I think, is in our times of worship. Now, I'm a big advocate and fan of participation in worship. Why? Because I've come to experience, and it's my conviction, that only what we put into worship can be transformed. See, if I want my thoughts and my thinking to change, then I need to put my thoughts into my worship. If I want my words and my speaking to change, I need to put my words into my worship. If I want my body and my habits to change, I need to put, yes, my body into my worship. Ultimately, if I want my heart to change, I need to put my heart into my worship. And all of this putting into requires effort. It requires time. It is in that sense an act of obedience. And when we walk in that obedience, obedience isn't just something we do, but it's also something that does something to us. We receive, if you will, grace to obey, and we receive grace in and through our obedience over and over and over and over again. God is the river of life. He wants to run through your life, make your life fruitful and abundant. But the river of life only runs down the channels and along the borders of your and my obedience to Jesus. Yes, He wants to change us, but how does He do that? He does it with the effort that is involved in our obedience to